Hello and welcome to this lecture. Today we are going to discuss about the receptor and the macromolecular nature of the receptors. So before talking about the receptor, we need to understand about the drug. Every drug that is present in the market has some chemical structure. What is meant by chemical structure? It means that the drug molecule have some chemical unit, and this drug molecule is responsible for producing the biological action. How it produces the action? Through interaction with the physiological organs. But the next question is that what is going inside to the cell and the tissues? So the answer is that the drug, which is the chemical entity, they react or they interact with the cell through receptors. So the first important thing you have to understand that the therapeutic effect of the drug or the toxic effect of the drug is why, because the drug interact with the receptors. According to the definition, it is the component of the cell or organism that interact with the drug and initiate the chain of events leading to drugs observed effect. So this is the same thing that I am talking about, that the receptors that is present in the cell, they react with the drug and then it produce the effect. I can explain in terms of a simple equation like a drug. Then we have receptors, and then this receptor, when bind with a drug, they produce the effect. So actually the whole definition can be summarized in this equation: drug binding with the receptors and then it producing the effects. Now next question is, what is receptors and what are actually they are made up of? The answer is that these receptors could be enzymes. They could be either specialized membrane bound protein. What is membrane? It means cell membrane. So why receptors are important? The answer is that because these receptors is responsible to interact with the drug and then they are producing the pharmacological effect. So let's discuss one by one. uh, we can explain in terms of some of the sections like the dose and pharmacological effect, selectivity of the drug action, then receptors that mediate the action of pharmacological agonist and antagonist. So let's discuss these all 3 points one by one. Let's take a look of the first point, the dose pharmacological effect, and I have drawn the graph where you can see the drug concentration is plotted against the maximum effect, and you have to see that the drug concentration always measured in terms of the logarithm scale. And why it is measured as logarithm scale we discussed in the last lecture, because when we give the drug to the patient, there is an increase of the response or increase of the effect. So that increase is exponential, and we discussed in the last lecture as well that the exponential increase is always measured in terms of the log scale. So if you see that in this case the drug, and you can see that the concentration increase and the effect also increase till 100%. So that higher concentration is responsible for producing the maximum effect. So that's how the dose and pharmacological effect works. Another important thing when we talk about dose and concentration, the important thing is that we must need to know the receptor affinity to bind with that drug. It's obvious that when a drug bind with the receptor, it produces the effect. So if receptor has the affinity to bind, then that effect will be produced. If a drug binding with the receptor is weak, then the response will be not as fully response that will be produced. So the receptor affinity is very important with that drug, and when the researchers will design the drug, they always consider in their mind about the nature of the drug and their affinity with the receptors to bind. The other important thing that is very important, that the number of receptors is also important. So not only the receptor affinity is important, but also the number of receptors is also important. If the number of receptors are less and the drug affinity drug is more, then the drug will produce response uh, very fast. So the total number of receptors is also important. If the number of receptors is more and the drug is less, then the response is not maximum. So there must be, when we take a look of next point, which is the selectivity of drug action. So it depend upon the molecular nature of the drug, or the molecular size of the drug, or the shape of the drug, and the size or shape of the drug determine the affinity with the drug. So that is why when the scientists are designing a particular drug for specific treatment, they must keep in mind about the type of receptors that is required to bind with that drug. Then the receptors mediate the action of pharmacological agonist and antagonist. So here we're discussing about the two important term, that the drug could be a agonist or a drug could be antagonist. Okay, let's discuss ligand, agonist and antagonist, and we are going to compare what is ligand, what is agonist, and what is antagonist. And here you can see this is a picture of the cell membrane, and this cell membrane consists of the receptors. And when we talk about ligand, we also term as endogenous ligand. The endogenous ligand is actually, they can be the hormones, it could be neurotransmitters, or it could be any enzyme that is producing naturally inside the body. The word endogenous is actually mean inside. So the ligand must be the molecule that must be produced inside the body. Sometime in some terms we also classify, we also discuss ligand in term of drug as well, but in this slide we are talking about ligand that is producing naturally inside the body, especially endogenous ligand, and then they binding with the receptor. If you take a look, after binding with the receptor, they are producing the pharmacological effect. So what is agonist, how we differentiate? The agonist must be a drug. It must be a drug that binding with the receptors and then producing the pharmacological effect. So the difference between ligand and agonist is the endogenous ligand that is producing naturally inside the body. For example, hormone, neurotransmitters such as, for example, estrogen hormone that is producing in the female, or testosterone hormone that is producing naturally in the human. And then these hormones are naturally working for normal physiological functions, so they naturally binding with the receptors and then they're producing the effects. But when we compare with the agonist must be a drug that has been given from outside through injection or through given orally to the inside. So that's we have to compare the agonist with the endogenous ligand. Then the third concept is the antagonist. And antagonist drug is uh, actually the drug that is close enough to bind with the receptor, but they are not producing the pharmacological effect. So in the case of antagonist, they are very resemble with the agonist, but they are not actually the agonist. So what happened? They bind with the receptor because of the structural similarity, and after binding with the receptor, they will not produce effect because they are not actual agonist. So they take up the receptor cells or receptor space, they occupy the receptor space, and then they block the actual agonist or ligand to bind. And because the agonist or the ligand unable to bind, then the response will be not produced. So that's how we compare ligand, agonist, and antagonist. Let's take a look of one example that help to understand the difference between the ligand and then compare with the agonist. For example, we must know that the breast cancer is caused because of the high level of estrogen. So the high level of estrogen can responsible for breast cancer. And we must know that estrogen is the hormone that is producing throughout the woman's life cycle, and in the menstruation cycle it increase and then decrease in the cycle. So if the estrogen level in the woman it keep constantly rising, then it is responsible to produce cancer cells, because that's it bind with the receptor, like in this case the breast cancer cell, and then that receptor, and then they bind with that receptor. They mention estrogen or estrogen, the both meaning is same. They bind with the receptor, and then they this estrogen level is responsible for binding with the cancerous cell, and then they producing the cancer, and the cancer cell will grow. So if the estrogen level is high, it keep giving the food to the cancer cell, and then it gives to grow more breast cancer. So this is an example of the estrogen that is naturally produced inside the body, and that is responsible for pathological conditions. But for example, what is estrogen outside? In some cases the estrogen has been given from outside to the inside as a drug. So when we take an example of osteoporosis, so as osteoporosis is caused either because of the low calcium level in the diet or because of the low estrogen level. So in this case, when the low level of calcium or low estrogen level, it leads to the formation of porous or hollow bones that leads to the thin brittle osteoporotic bone. So what happen in how we treat the osteoporosis? We treat by using estrogen as a therapy, and this is actually estrogen is a drug. So that's an example of how estrogen can be used as a ligand in naturally occurring pathological condition, and how in some cases we give estrogen from outside to the inside. Let's discuss the macromolecular nature of the drug receptors, and let's discuss one by one. Number one, we discuss about the orphan receptors. If you see the word orphan, it is main unknown. It means that orphan receptors are those receptors which are not known yet, because their ligand molecule or the endogenous ligand we don't know yet. And these orphan receptors are very helpful to identify new drug molecules. So these are those receptors that are not yet identified. And why? Because the natural ligands are not known yet. Then we have ligands that I discussed before, that these are naturally occurring molecules such as hormones, such as estrogen or dopamine. Then we have regulatory proteins, which describe that the receptors are protein molecules. Protein molecules. They are known as actually endogenous chemical signals. Why? Because the receptors, such as these are protein, they bind with the ligands. So the ligands, which is the hormone or estrogen, they bind with these regulatory proteins, which is known as receptors, through this chemical signals. So it just like that, the this is the site where this is known as the receptor. This is the ligand. This ligand will bind with that receptor, and then they producing the chemical signals that is responsible for therapeutic functions. Then we have the enzymes, that is also responsible to bind with the drugs. And in this case, the example is dihydrofolate reductase, which involve in the treatment of anti-neoplastic drugs. And in this case, that for anti-cancer or anti-neoplastic drug, the dihydrofolate reductase plays an important role. And then we will discuss this thing in the cancer cells, in the chemotherapeutics later on. Then we have structural proteins like sodium potassium ATPase, and they are useful drug targets, and they are present around the membrane. And these receptors are especially active in cardioactive drugs such as digitalis. We will discuss these in detail later on. Then we have structural proteins, such as tubulin, and which is also important for anti-inflammatory drugs such as colchicine. And we will discuss this structural protein later on in detail. So thank you so much for today's lectures. Hope to see you again.